Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Atlantic Education Summit, the virtual version. We wish we would have had everyone in person this year to join us for another wonderful summit, but we're glad that you're able to join us here on this virtual platform through Zoom, and you're going to hear shortly about our VR coming up with Engage. My name is Brian Willett, and I am one of your hosts, and Jeanne.
Bonjour, bienvenue, mesdames et messieurs, où que vous soyez sur la planète, bienvenue à ce 8e sommet atlantique de l'éducation.
So we're going to kick things off with a short little video introducing you to this year's summit, as well as some of the features that the Atlantic Education Summit is proud of.
As educators, we stand at a crossroads. Down one road lies the status quo, investing in the educational system as it stands, even though all the available data shows that we're no longer preparing our students for the world that awaits them. Down another is the road less traveled. We have a chance to develop leaders and skilled workers, to empower innovative thinkers, to help build adaptable skills and foster emotional intelligence. By constructing a collaborative vision on how to harness and leverage these technologies, we can engage our students, our educators, and our leaders to help ready them for the future of 2030 and beyond. Because we believe that our youth deserve a chance to thrive, to collaborate, to innovate, to solve complex problems, to contribute locally and compete globally. As Atlantic Canadians, we need to work together and look to the remarkable insight that's all around us. We need to pool our innovation and our experience and transform our learning community. Only then can we learn a new way to teach, instead of trying to teach the same way to learn.
Hi everyone, welcome to the 2020 Atlantic Education Summit. Bienvenue au Sommet Atlantique 2020. This next 4 days, it's going to be amazing. We're going to be explored to communicate, collaborate, explore the world of VR and how it can be transforming our learning environment, but also our student and our teachers' learning experience per se. And with that being said, now I'm going to move back to do Zoom session so we can continue our opening ceremony. We'll see you in 30 seconds.
All right, so as Mario makes his way back here to the Zoom session, we'll take a few seconds to introduce ourselves. As I mentioned before, my name is Brian Willett. I work for the Anglophone East School District here in Moncton, New Brunswick, and I'm also the host of my Creative Classroom podcast, which is going to be doing live interviews with keynote speakers and panelists from the summit. So be sure to follow us on Twitter as well as the website. We'll have more updates on that as well.
Bonjour, mon nom c'est Jeanne Godin. Comme vous pouvez voir, mes cheveux ont poussé depuis la photo. Donc, moi, je suis professeure à l'Université de Moncton et je suis aussi la co-directrice du groupe Compética. Et Compética aura une présentation cet après-midi, donc on espère de vous voir là. Et ça me fait vraiment plaisir d'être l'hôte avec Brian.
All right, so let's keep things going. The Atlantic Education Summit would like to do a territorial acknowledgement to make sure for the whole event, and I need to be able to see my screen, but I can't see my screen.
Oh.
Hold on here, everybody. Jeanne, peux-tu commencer, s'il te plaît?
Oui, nous voulons reconnaître respectueusement que la terre sur laquelle nous nous rassemblons est le territoire traditionnel non cédé du peuple Mi'kmaq. Les Mi'kmaq sont l'un des 5 peuples de la Confédération Wabanaki située au nord-est de l'île aux Tortues.
Je vais te demander de faire lui en anglais aussi, je peux pas voir
I can speak English also. We would like to respectfully acknowledge that the land on which we gather is the unceded traditional territory of the Mi'kmaq people. The Mi'kmaq are one of the 5 national of the Wabanaki Confederacy in the northeast of the Turtle Island.
Merci, Jeanne. Thank you, Jeanne. we'd like to make this acknowledgement as we begin this wonderful Atlantic Education Summit, no matter where you are taking part today and for the rest of the week. So we would like to take this time to now welcome back from the VR world, Dr. Mario Chasson, who is the president of the Atlantic Education Summit.
Hey, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're so excited to have you here there on this wonderful week at the end of the year. C'est tellement une belle journée, une belle semaine que nous avons. Puis, merci d'avoir venu ici en si grand nombre. Just to give you a little brief history about the Atlantic Education Summit, it started with teachers about 7 or 8 years ago, and we decided, to bring, a bunch of teachers together and, to do some professional learning together. So we were so excited, to do that. And over the years, au fur et à mesure des années, plusieurs activités ont amplifié comme telles. Et as we move forward, other districts join in. After other districts join in, other provinces have joined in. And after we have other provinces, associations have joined in. So last year we had, 6 major associations who have joined in and provide, a unique Atlantic Education Summit. So we're quite proud and, excited to continue on. And nous sommes très honorés d'avoir l'opportunité de continuer ceci. One of the reasons, we decided to make this is that when COVID-19 arose, and probably in the mid-March, we were like, we were kind of hoping to still going, but we make a decision to say to postpone the event. Donc, quand que COVID-19 est arrivé, comme par surprise, le comité organisationnel décidait de on va probablement rapporter l'événement peut-être cet automne. With that being said, though, we have a lot of requests to say like, no, you got to keep going, like, let's make it happen. And, we're quite, excited to hear that a lot of our partners, our industry partners, but also our education partners and Department of Education, teachers, principal, district, always say like, well, let's do it. Let's try to do it again. So it was a group decision. To move ahead with that. So c'était une décision de groupe après avoir eu beaucoup de requêtes pour l'avoir. Donc, nous sommes reconnaissants que le Sommet Atlantique d'éducation fait partie de notre culture. Qu'est-ce qu'on parle ça pour créer une culture éducative, mais à la fois collaborative. Donc, cette année, nous avons près de 200 enregistrés, inscrits. We have almost closer to 200 people registered. So what is the Atlantic Education Summit? Well, the Atlantic Education Summit is a place that we know that we can create a community. It's all about building knowledge. It's all about building capacity. And it's always also building collaboration. So when we get building knowledge, we build capacity, we definitely build a community. And that's why we are here today. So it's a place that, that we can share resources and contribute to the community. C'est un endroit par lequel on peut faire beaucoup de partage puis contribuer à notre communauté ensemble et meilleur. Together, we're better. So if you go to the next slide, Brian, we'll see that, that the Atlantic Education Summit is that everybody needs to be a presenter, right? Being a presenter and helping educators grow. C'est être animateur puis formateur et aider nos éducateurs à grandir. En fin de compte, nous sommes tous des enseignants, nous sommes tous des élèves. Puis nous avons tout pas le besoin, mais le sentiment d'apprendre, puis de continuer davantage, de s'exploiter, puis d'expérimenter. Puis being part of the learning community where you can take action. The reason why that you're here today is because you want to be part of the action. You're passionate people. Right? You have a lot of knowledge, your experience and an expertise, this, and the fact that we're here today, you will hear also that you share. So with that being said, the next 4 days is going to be amazing that. So we try as well to provide, the fact that it's virtual, that over the next 4 days to have more space, because for the well-being, it's very important. So we're going to talk about the schedule. It's impossible to do this without the partners. And you guys made it happen with this. So our presenting sponsor, Edwin Nelson, thank you. Our partners, French VR Immersive Education, that step up to the plate and provide a very unique way. We're talking about here about hybrid learning environment, right? So VR, which we're going to be immersed and try to explore and discover over the next 4 days, okay, to have a better understanding how simulation is so important in solution as part of the learning from a technical perspective. And of course, all the others partners available there. The recognition of the District Francophone Sud, who is our major partner into this, as well as District Anglophone East for that. Over the next 2 days, also, we're going to have David Whelan, CEO of Emergent VR, who tomorrow morning from 11 o'clock is going to show you how the power of VR happens in the industry, but also what's going on in the education post-secondary and as well in K-12. So nous allons découvrir davantage qu'est-ce que c'est la réalité virtuelle, qu'est-ce que l'impact au point de vue de l'industrie, mais qu'est-ce que l'impact aussi de la formation continue en termes de simulation et des simulateurs. Donc, l'élément de VR est une partie importante maintenant en ce qui concerne la formation continue. Ensuite de ça, nous avons jeudi Dr. Alex Kouros de l'Université de Regina, un des piliers, un des leaders en éducation pour laquelle il va venir livrer un message le juin le 25, so June 24th. So we have two amazing keynote, to come and we can learn about that. And each after session, we'll part of the Zoom, we're going to have a Q&A so we can actually have dialogue with them. And, kind of the highlight for us, it's very important there to have a cross-Canada panel. Un panel transcanadien ou par lequel nous allons entendre différentes perspectives de la scène au point de vue de la composante éducative, plus spécialement de la composante postsecondaire, de la composante de l'industrie, puis aussi de la composante de leadership. Donc, nous avons une belle diversité. We have a great diversified of amazing leaders that, we can hope to hear, what their perspective on education and how that we can actually bridge the gap between innovative societies and, the formal education. So with that said, I'm going to turn around back to Jeanne and Brian. But before that, we got our great partners doing this, as we mentioned, but behind the scene, even though that, I'm looking good and in good shape, there's a lot of work has been doing in the back in 7 weeks. And when we decided to make it happen, we couldn't do it with those people there. So, Dr. Freiman, Jeanne, Robert, Brian, Martin, Nicole, Maurice, and Natasha, those are the people that did a lot of work in the background. So I'm recognition to be part of this amazing team who were able, to provide this amazing learning experience over the next 4 days. So with that being said, maintenant pour le mot de la fin, j'espère que vous allez passer un excellent 4 jours de partage, de collaboration, puis de s'éduquer en fin de compte, parce que nous sommes tous des apprenants. Alors, bonne semaine et bonne conférence. Have a great week and have a great conference.
Thank you, Mario, for that wonderful message and giving us a little bit more information about the Atlantic Education Summit. I'd like to take the time now to introduce our presenting sponsor. We have Steve Brown with us, who is the CEO of Nelson, and Edwin and Nelson are the presenting sponsors, and he will be doing a presentation as well. So I'd like to invite Steve to say a few words of welcome.
Good morning, everybody. What strange times we find ourselves in. I think if you look at education today and you look at the demands on us all over the last 12 weeks, I think we can all agree they've truly been unprecedented. But at times like this, I think the focus on community in the Educational Summit is quite appropriate. When I think about community, I think about everybody from ministries to administrators to principals, teachers, students, and parents. And I think for the first time over the last 12 weeks, parents have really understood just how important a part education plays, not only in their students' lives, their children's lives, but in their lives also. And the empathy that they've been able to garner through this period for just how important the relationship between teachers and students is. The stress is upon everybody in the educational community, not only in the Atlantic provinces, but across the country and indeed around the world, has been unprecedented. I think it's driven innovation, and ultimately this period of time, whilst very sad, and we will all look back on it with different memories, both fond and tragic, will be a catalyst for the use of innovation and education to come together. I think the thing that we have seen at Nelson has been to keep students engaged is the only true measure of success during this period. And keeping engagement high at the same time as going on that educational journey in a safe manner whilst they're away from the classroom has been one of our focuses. I made a speech only the other day talking about Nelson's history. Nelson is 106 years old, and we like to say that we educated the educators. And for all those Canadian teachers and administrators on today, I'm sure you'll remember using Nelson books when you were in grade school. However, being 106 years old and in education in Canada, that means we went through the First World War, the Second World War, and now the third tragedy being COVID-19 and this pandemic. However, I think this time we could respond in a way like we had never have been able to do before, and that is with the use of technology. So I'm delighted to take part in this summit. I look forward to addressing you tomorrow and taking part in the cross-Canada panel. Wish you all a very good conference, and thank you all. And with that, I'll hand back to Jean.
Rebonjour. Il me fait grand plaisir de vous présenter une passionnée, une très grande passionnée de l'éducation, Madame Monique Boudreau, qui est la directrice générale du district scolaire francophone Sud et qui est aussi la commanditaire de la mission. Petite question avant qu'on passe à Monique. Je me demandais, est-ce que Monique, elle pourrait pas mettre sa caméra puis on la verrait parler en personne?
Bonjour.
Brian, bonjour. OK, allez-y.
Chers collègues du milieu de l'éducation, j'espère que vous me voyez. Oui, ma caméra est bien allumée. Dear participants, merci d'être présents en si grand nombre à ce sommet atlantique de l'éducation. Il y a un an, au sommet de Moncton, personne n'aurait imaginé l'arrivée de la pandémie qui viendrait bouleverser tout notre monde. Puis bien sûr, surtout au niveau de l'éducation, c'est sûr qu'on a été très, très bouleversés. While many of us are focused on reopening our schools in September, this event will help us put things in perspective and keep our long-term goal in mind. Therefore, I thank the organizing committee for this occasion to reflect on how better meet our students' needs in this ever-changing world. Je suis bien contente, Mario, que vous avez certainement décidé de continuer avec ce sommet, même avec la pandémie, parce que je pense que c'est un grand, grand besoin pour nous. On sait que le milieu scolaire est en pleine transformation, non pas au sens figuré, mais bien de façon réelle. Nous vivons des changements importants qui auront un impact de livraison des services éducatifs dans les années à venir et même dès septembre 2020. La pandémie de la COVID-19 nous a forcés du jour au lendemain à revoir nos pratiques, à compter plus que jamais sur les outils technologiques dans la communication et dans la livraison des services éducatifs. C'est toujours en temps de crise qu'on va innover davantage. While we live in a digital era where innovation is forever reinventing itself, we are aware that the education system has some important catching up to do. However, with this recent pandemic and seeing how it played out in our school system, I would also add that we must never lose sight of the human being behind the technology. Dans nos écoles, nous souhaitons amener les élèves à explorer leur créativité, à nourrir leur intérêt pour la création, à les encourager à partager leurs apprentissages avec leurs pairs. Nous cherchons à ce qu'ils soient actifs dans leurs apprentissages et qu'ils développent des compétences qui leur serviront tout au long de leur vie. Nous souhaitons également que les membres du personnel scolaire en fassent de même. Monsieur Mario en a fait allusion, on est tous des élèves, on est tous en train d'apprendre. On veut aussi que notre personnel scolaire soit innovant, qu'il travaille en équipe, qu'il soit bien outillé pour guider les élèves dans leurs apprentissages. However, we often say in education, we must Maslow before we bloom. With the coronavirus pandemic, we realize that this holds true more than ever. We can only achieve our long-term goal in education if students and school staff feel healthy, safe, secure, and happy. La pandémie nous a livré plusieurs leçons de vie. Il ne faut pas les oublier dans nos réflexions entourant l'éducation de demain. Il en va de même pour l'inclusion. Le Nouveau-Brunswick a développé un système d'éducation basé sur l'inclusion scolaire et nous sommes reconnus mondialement pour l'inclusion scolaire. Il faut garder cette valeur à l'esprit pour que le système scolaire reste inclusif et qu'il continue d'offrir une éducation qui tienne compte des différences. La pandémie nous a enseigné l'importance de la collaboration et du travail d'équipe en temps de crise, des forces sur lesquelles il faut continuer de miser, non seulement en temps de crise, mais aussi dans nos efforts pour réimaginer le monde de l'éducation. Je souhaite donc que ces trois éléments soient au cœur de nos réflexions au cours des prochains jours, soit la santé et le mieux-être, l'inclusion et la collaboration. En terminant, je remercie le personnel scolaire, mais aussi les partenaires de l'éducation qui sont présents, les parents, les membres de la communauté, de même que les commanditaires, dont la compagnie Edwin Nelson, entre autres, qui contribue au succès de cet événement. So, thank you to our partners in education who are here today, staff members, parents, sponsors, and members of the community. Je vous remercie et je vous souhaite un très, très bon sommet. Merci.
Merci beaucoup, Madame Monique. J'étais tellement préoccupée par tout ce qui se passait ce matin à la conférence, j'avais oublié la pandémie. Donc, je passe la parole à Brian qui va poursuivre.
Un gros merci à Monique et gros merci à Jeanne. I'd like to now take the opportunity to introduce to you Mr. Stephen Sato, who is from Immersive VR Education. And Stephen is here to give us some insight as to what VR education looks like, as well as how you as participants are going to be able to actively engage in this VR world, whether you're using a headset or two-dimensional with your PC. So Stephen, I pass it on to you.
Thank you, guys. Good morning. It's about 5 a.m. here in Los Angeles, but I'm happy to be here. Thank you again for having me. My name is Stephen Sato, and though I do work for Immersive VR Education, the makers of Engaged, and we're honored to be a part of this year's event. I'm personally very excited to be here as an educator and former tech director for some 20 years in education. Definitely have the gray hairs to show for that. On this very exciting day that is the launch of the Atlantic Education Summit 2020, partially being hosted in VR or virtual reality, right? So with that briefly, we're gonna go over how to get into Engage, the required steps for launching into tomorrow's VR keynote in a participatory manner within Engage, all right? So first and foremost, you're gonna need either a VR rig, which if you have, wonderful. If you don't have, you probably don't have enough time to get one by tomorrow, but you can also use a Windows PC to drop into 2D and participate in that manner as well. While instructions should have been sent out, we're gonna walk through these steps very quickly here, all right? So I'm gonna share my screen just to start with, we'll stop sharing on other screens, perfect. All right. So the first thing that you're going to do in preparation for tomorrow is to go to our website at engagevr.io. From there, you're going to want to click on Login. And oops, excuse me. From there, you're going to want to click on Login. I apologize. Excuse me, I'm getting ahead of myself. Download. From here, you're going to want to register. First step, number 1, register. Go ahead and register. First name, email, password, accept the terms after you read them, of course. Create that account. Once you've done that, go ahead and click download. And here, if you have a Quest, wonderful, or if you have any other of these devices that are supported, please let us know. Please follow those instructions. Most of you are going to click Windows PC VR, and it's going to download an installer for you, and you can go ahead and install Engage. All right. So that's the steps to go ahead and download Engage. From there, we're going to launch into Engage. So for tomorrow's keynote, but also for today, right after this, we're going to go into a break, I believe, Brian. And then once we're done with the break, we're going to be in a inside of Engage for those that are willing and want to test out the platform. And we're going to enter into sandbox mode where you guys can play around, interact, and get familiar. So, but before we get there, I'll briefly share my screen so that we can understand what it looks like inside of Engage. So stop that and reshare. So now you've registered, you've downloaded, installed Engage, you're going to launch Engage. This is what it looks like on the Windows desktop. Okay, so I'm going to sign in. I've already created my avatar, but when you sign in for the first time, you'll be prompted to create your avatar. And here, you'll go ahead and select the gender, complexion. You can do things like, you know, head, add hair, remove hair. If you wanted to actually be bald, that's okay. You can click on apparel, torso, change your shirt, you can do all those things and design your avatar. But as well, you can choose this My Face option if you'd so choose. Upload a picture of your face. There's me again, if you saw me in the Zoom session. And once My Face is enabled, now you've generated your avatar. That's the first step. And that's the first, it's actually required once you log in for the first time. Tomorrow, you're going to be joining the Atlantic Education Summit keynote. Right now we have a sandbox open. So what you're going to do is click on join. You're going to look for the sandbox or summit sessions, and you're going to click join, and you're going to type in the password that was given to you in email, right? And that password is just a capital AES 2020. That takes you in there, right? All right, so once we get in there, perfect. So now we are inside of Engage, and Maurice is hosting here. He's in a Windows desktop, don't mind his neck. He's looking up, I suppose. All right, so this is inside of Engage, and if you're familiar with any 2D first-person game, it's as simple as using the WASD keys, right? So I'm gonna hit W for forward, S for backwards, A left, D right. With my mouse, I am controlling the perspective in which I'm looking. And by pressing the escape key, I can go to my menu. And when I'm in my menu, this is very important. First thing to note, just like while you're in Zoom, you're going to want to make sure that you mute your mic unless you're speaking. You can unmute just like that. Mute with the little X hash through the microphone is muted. As well too, please, if you at all have a pair of headphones, whether you're in VR or in Windows 2D desktop, it would be much appreciated if you had headphones throughout the VR session tomorrow, okay? Seating. So a couple things to note. This is the amphitheater that we will be experiencing the keynote within. On the mouse, on your right-click button, I can teleport as well. So notice I can hold the right-click button and I can aim in a particular location, and where green, I can release and it teleports me there. The next step is to drop into or teleport into a seat. Notice there's a ghosted seat icon. So if I teleport there, it sits me in that seat and it orients me towards the stage. Of course, now that I'm seated here, I can still look around and talk to other people that are in the space. Again, I'm going to mute myself if I'm not talking, and the host will take care of final seating and starting the session when it's time. The last thing I want to note with 2D is if you're just enjoying the session and you want to capture it, you want to send something out to Twitter later, go ahead and hit the camera button. Again, in your menu, hit escape and then camera. And of course, where you're looking in this boxed area, you can now take a picture. Okay, so I take that picture, save it, and now it's inside of, on my Windows machine, Documents, Engage folder, Pictures. All right. And then finally, just if you're in VR, you should be fairly familiar, but obviously if you're in virtual reality, you'll have two controllers and you can move about the space with that. There will be helpers and guides as to what the controllers will do, as to how to teleport, move throughout the space, and or engage the menu. So with that, there will be a sandbox just right after this. Like I said, after the break or during the break, we'll be spinning up the rooms. Please feel to prepare, engage, join us. The rooms will be AES Sandbox 1, 2, or 3. Just join them as the rooms fill up. And the password again is going to be capital AES 2020. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Stephen, for that. As Stephen mentioned, we are going to have a sandbox space available for all of you to join us in that virtual reality through Engage. Whether you're on a PC or you're using headgear, you can head over there and hopefully you follow those steps and you've already created your avatar and you're ready to join. I think that covers our morning introduction and our welcome. So I'm going to put my VR headset on and I'm going to head over to those sandbox spaces and hopefully we'll see you there. And then in our next session after the sandbox, hopefully we'll see you there as well.
And we start by filling sandbox 1. Is that correct, Brian? Oui?
Yep, we'll start with sandbox 1 and then we'll work our way up. Yep, for sure.
OK. Merci, à tout à l'heure.